Hi, everybody. Welcome to my show, Campfire Discussions with Brandy. I'm glad you're all here. Before I get into what I'm supposed to talk about this evening, we have some breaking news. It turns out that as the Twitter deal closes today, Elon Musk has fired the CEO and top executives at Twitter. And on video number 4, here you go. And he says, you can't help but let that sink in as he carries the sink into the building. Pretty hilarious. Hi, Sapot. I'm doing okay. Still, not feeling the best, but I'm here and I'm happy to be talking about what we're talking about. I have a lot to say and hopefully we get through it all. So as you know, the last time we were here, we were talking about the Darrel Brooks trial, and there's been a couple weeks in between because we skipped a week on me, And I was watching this trial back to back. Hi, Jim. And I got to tell you, I've watched almost every second of this trial, and there is so much to discuss here. The verdict is in, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to talk about a few things. First of all, let's look at a few of his pictures to show just how terribly behaved this guy was. So, like, picture number 1 of Darrel Brooks is him arguing with the judge. And so then there's picture number 3. Okay, this one is him making faces at the judge because he disagrees with one of her judgments on one of his many objections. Okay, this guy objected to everything. Okay, he would say objection to every single question the prosecution had for a witness, and his disrespect was just blatant. Picture number 5 is him when he stared down the judge, and I have a video of that in a minute. Stared down the judge to the point where she had to take a break and leave and walk away for a minute because he was absolutely scaring her. Yes, he will support, and we'll get to that in a minute. Picture number 6. If we get there. Another one. This is where he's staring at the prosecution because he's angry that they brought up the fact that he's a sex offender. Picture number 7. And the fact that I know all this is crazy. Another one where he's looking at the prosecution with disgust, okay? And I want you guys to look at the people behind him. All those people that are in the gallery just watching this guy disrespect the victims, disrespect the prosecution, disrespect the judge, and look at the bailiff behind him on the left. Yeah, I watched the entire trial. I know everything that happened during this trial, you guys. This guy is a menace to society. And picture number, are we on 7? Okay, so picture number 9. This is him yelling at the judge, which he did many times. He yelled at the judge. This guy is a piece of crap, okay? So I want to go over a few things. Now, the verdict came in, okay? So we've got a couple pictures of him receiving the verdict. Picture number 2 is, I believe, as the verdict's coming in. And, of course, he has his mask on again because he doesn't want anyone to just, of course, no one can be shocked if you've watched any of this trial, but still, I couldn't believe that he got up there and all he did was talk about himself, just like he did this whole trial. Picture number 8. That's him looking at the jury as the judge polled the jury. The judge polled the jury because he asked them to. He asked the judge to poll the jury because they came up with guilty on all 76 counts. That's guilty 6 counts of homicide with a deadly weapon, 67 counts of endangering with a deadly weapon, and his behavior here. Throughout the trial, he constantly objected to the prosecution. He would constantly say objection, 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 and immediately he would say grounds afterwards, demanding that the judge give grounds for why she sustained or overruled the objection. Or if they called objection on him, he'd immediately say grounds before they can even finish saying objection. He called sustain substain. This guy is incredulous. He's just absolutely insane. There was one time when the judge had to pull the jury out and say, Mr. Brooks. Well, I don't recognize that name. I don't go by that name. I don't know anyone by that name. He did that 1,000 times. I guarantee you it was 1,000 times. Jay says he's a very good argument for reinstating the death penalty. Yes, absolutely. She had to tell the jury to go so she could explain to him, Mr. Brooks, just so you know, when you ask for grounds on a ruling of mine, you're asking me to give my legal ruling, my conclusion to what that question, if that question is evidence or not, and what I believe And by doing that, you're giving the jury more reasons to find you guilty. You're giving the jury to reasons to make a legal conclusion when they shouldn't be making a legal conclusion. So when you demand grounds, you're actually not helping yourself. But yet he still went through the whole trial and did it. He constantly interrupted. He constantly talked over the prosecution or the judge. He yelled at the judge. He over and over and over again asked if this was Admiralty Court, claiming that he was in some sort of military tribunal. I mean, he was so out of it. He was questioning victims, asking them if they had monetary gain. He actually brought a victim up, and I forget her name. Let me go through some of these comments real quick. Joel says there's glitches going on. Sorry, guys. Greetings. Hi, Antonio. Yes, Christy, guilty on all 76 counts. Thank you. That's very sweet, Richard. Judge has the patience of a saint. Yes. And I'll get to that too in a minute. So he asked this one victim. Okay, so she's a witness. And what I noticed of his witness list was that he was calling people that maybe the prosecution had on their list but didn't end up bringing into court. There's a very good reason for that. Now, he thought the reason was, well, maybe they have some good information for me that helps my side. But in reality, most of the time, the reasons were that these people were too traumatized. Okay, so he brought this one lady up, and she's talking, and he finds out that she couldn't ID him. She didn't really see a lot because she was more focused on other things. She didn't really see, and he thought that would help him because she couldn't point him out in a crowd. She couldn't say, "Yep, that was you," just like so many of the witnesses did. So many of them said, "It's you, right there. You did it. I saw your eyes. I saw you in the car. I saw you hit my kid." But she didn't see that, so he thought, "Yes, this is perfect for me," right? Well, sadly, we found out why the prosecution didn't bring her when the prosecution had to cross-examine her, and they had to bring up the reason why they didn't bring her on the stand, and they didn't want to put her through this, but they had to. And the reason was because all 4 of her children were hit by Darrel Brooks. All 4 of her children were hospitalized with very serious injuries. All 4 of her children were 4 counts of those endangering with a deadly weapon charges that he received. And this poor mama was bawling her eyes out, and all Darrel could do was scream, "Objection, objection, objection." And you can hear the judge. It was painful for her. It was painful for the prosecution to ask these questions, and it was painful for her to say overruled every time because she had a right to tell her story. And I'll tell you what, that was one of the heartbreaking moments. So as for the judge having the patience of a saint, yes, I mean, she was incredible. We have a picture of her, I believe it's number 12. She was an incredible judge, perfect judge for this case. She had the patience of a saint, but she also knew exactly what she was doing. From start to finish, she knew what she was doing. She gave him 100 opportunities to back out of representing himself. She told him at least 10 to 15 times, if you represent yourself, you will not have legal representation. You will not be able to get, I can't give you legal advice, and you will not have somebody here helping you. You will be on your own, and we are not going to stall, and we will proceed with this trial as we were. You will not get help. The one thing that people might not realize is he had all the notes that his lawyers worked on for the whole 10 months right there with him that he was able to use. But she made it very clear, I don't care. Once you make this choice, and I've given you many times to opt out, that this is it. This is the end of it, and I don't want to hear it. Well, of course, throughout the whole trial, he claimed to not understand. Whenever she'd give him paperwork, he'd say, "I accept for value, return for value," claiming that he never received it. They would read it into record, and he'd say, "I don't understand, I didn't hear you. I don't see this paperwork sitting right in front of me. I don't hear it. It's I don't know. It's not my paperwork." I mean, he is out of his head. Somebody said, does he have any problems in his head? He was tested for he was tested because he wanted to plead insanity, but they found him completely sane. How can a normal person do that? He's not a normal person. He's a sociopath, psychopath, narcissist. I don't know what the words are, but he is evil. Hi, William. James said, I'm glad to see you. Glad to see you too. That's so cruel. Yes, it is. She's an ex-Judge Judy. You know what? I heard a lot of comments about this judge. Some people didn't understand why she was being so lenient with him while she was allowing so much. But the reason she was allowing so much was because she wanted to make sure that these victims only had to go through one trial. She did not want him to have any opportunity of mistrial or any opportunity to appeal. Now, he is going to probably, most definitely take the opportunity to try to appeal, but that doesn't mean they'll accept it or it'll go through. She wanted to, every single thing, she made that record very clear. Over and over and over again, she made it very clear. And I think she's brilliant for doing that. So some people were saying they wish Judge Judy was there, but I don't think Judge Judy would have been able to handle it the same way. As a judge, she tried everything she could. Yep, and I appreciate her for that. Yeah, me too, Michael. Tristan said, I appreciate it. Joel says, he is a spoiled, entitled little brat, is finally getting what he deserves. I agree. Christy says he's going to try for an appeal. Funny thing is he won't get a public defender since he represented himself. He will have to hire an attorney. That is true. And he won't get that appeal. I would definitely said that's what he deserves. Yes, I agree. Now, we're going to go to a commercial real quick, and then we'll come back and finish up with this because I have a few more things to say about it. And obviously you guys too. This was an insane case. So our commercial is for Whitney Signs. They're a local sign company here in town. They're amazing couple. We love them to death. The mayor and his wife run this little sign company, and they do incredible work. It is awesome. And also, he's rerunning for mayor of our town. So if you live in Estacada and you can vote for the mayor, please vote for Sean Drinkwine. He's amazing. So check out their commercial. Okay, so let me see if there's more. Okay, Sapat said he is definitely fit for trial. He is a narcissistic psychopath. He murdered 10 people. He is a serial killer. Actually, it was 6 people that he killed. He got what he deserved. Yes, Sapat. So if you want to see picture 11, these are his victims here. So Jackson Sparks was 8 years old. Willem Hospital, Virginia Sorensen, Leanna Owen, and Tamara Durand, all 4 of those were in one group of the Dancing Grannies. Willem Hospital was like a support guy on with the group. And this lady that had to come up and talk about losing all her friends at once. It was really heartbreaking. Jane Coolidge is the lady that he hit, and she was on his hood, and he had to purposefully maneuver the car to shake her off the hood and then ran over her. I mean, this guy is just disgusting. Okay. So yeah, if you bring up picture 12, you can see the judge again. She's awesome. I just think she's great. And a lot of people thought she was beautiful and she was glowing. Well, that's because she's pregnant. And she did all this while pregnant. I mean, oh my goodness. Osborne says he's a psychopath and a serial killer. I really want justice for the victims. Well, the verdict came in yesterday, and the judge was able to read off all 76 counts of guilty, guilty, guilty. And she had to read each individual one. So it took like 35, 40 minutes to read those guilty verdicts. And boy, was it sweet to hear. It was awesome to hear. So I have a couple videos of Mr. Darrel Brooks. Let's check them out.
Without having that letter.
So
the state has the ability to question you about that.
Look at the disrespect.
And to look at the veracity of what your claims are here. So
watch him. Just look at the way he behaves.
I may take an early lunch. If that's in your cell, then you can go get it and bring it. But without that letter, I'm not allowing this line of questioning.
Good girl.
Do you have the letter with you in court?
I just said no. How
Okay.
many times I gotta say the same thing on record?
You know, sometimes, sir, I don't hear what you say because you interrupt me so much,
Yep.
or you answer quietly. And I'm
Or you're
taking notes
disrespectful.
focused on probably
Shit.
a dozen things at the same time.
But if I say something,
Watch the way he talks to her.
Everybody seems to hear it. Everybody seems to hear
In
that
a
just
quiet
fine.
courtroom,
And
yes,
everybody
we can
assumes,
hear it very
and
clearly.
everybody assumes that it has to be disparaging. Or,
Once again, you're doing this tactic.
Because
Try to
it's
That's
not
what
tactic, it's facts.
narcissists do, by the way. They gaslight you.
It's facts. Because I find it hard to believe that.
Instead of talking about the problem, he switches it on to something
I'm going to
else.
let the state make a
Stop.
record of why they
Stop.
believe it's objectionable because I haven't let them do that. I've given you multiple opportunities to tell me why you
So
believe
I
it's...
didn't get these pictures from nobody else. Why was
The
somebody
record will
else
reflect you have 2 pictures that you believe were from this witness.
that I know is from
No, that you believe.
that I know?
All right, I'll ask the state their position on all of this.
My position, Your Honor, is that these pictures, first of all,
Just wait for it, you guys. Watch this part.
because of a discovery violation. We've never seen them before. 2, because we have reason to believe that he did not get them from Erica Patterson. He is on a jail phone call talking to his mother, Dawn Woods.
He forgets about that part.
Dawn Woods sending these photographs to him. Now,
That's a lie. I object to
Let the
that.
state make their argument without interruption, sir.
That's a lie, though.
3, I believe that these photographs are designed to make a suggestion to the jury that Erica Patterson is a bad mom. I think that is what the defendant
Which is
trying to do.
horrible.
And if we're going to go down that road, then we would be forced to counter that claim. First of all, it doesn't make her an incredible witness,
Nope.
if it's even true. And second of all, if we go down that road, we would be forced to counter that claim by pointing out that not only does the defendant not live with the child in question, he doesn't live with any of the other children that he has. He impregnated Erica Patterson when she was a minor
15.
in Nevada. And for doing so, he was convicted of statutory sexual seduction,
Mhm.
pled guilty in March of 2007 to that felony offense, and is a sex offender on the registry as a result. So if there's any causation that would lead to Erica Patterson being a bad mom, Mr. Brooks has a direct role in that causation.
That's right.
And that's
Furthermore,
I object to that
I'm not
because
done.
that's a lie.
Let
Because
him
at the end
finish.
of the day,
Let
if
him
we
finish,
don't open the door
Mr.
on that, no,
Brooks.
since he want to make a record and
Look,
not be
now he
accurate,
goes
so
off.
let's be accurate all on the record since you think you know so much.
Once
So we
again,
can
Mr.
open the
Brooks
door
is
on.
being
We can
loud,
open the door on how old she told me she
disrespectful,
was when we met.
interrupting.
We can ask
He's-
that question
he is
too. Then
over the
you
top,
ask that?
animated
Do you
right
know
now.
that?
Mr. Brooks, I'm ordering you to sit down and to let the state
no,
finish.
I'm not going to sit here and let somebody be inaccurate on the record and lie on the record.
Right. Under Illinois versus Allen, I've warned him repeatedly. He's being removed from the courtroom. And you know what? Let me dial that back. We're just going to take an early lunch, 1 hour. We'll be back. And unless he brings that letter,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got that right, Millie.
She will not be questioned. And under 906.11, I will
Then you
declare
gonna
the
talk about
cross-examination.
He did this the whole trial, you guys. This was his behavior the whole trial.
So
Just-
let's open the door on all of it then so we can get all of it on the record. Since you think you know so much.
Listen to the way he talks to them. No respect for the
Did you
court.
know she said she was 18 when I met her?
No respect for the prosecution. No respect for the judge. No respect for the court at all. That was the whole trial, you guys. Screaming and yelling and just, it's all about him. I mean, oh my gosh, it was crazy. Okay, so somebody said, F that guy, that son of a bee. He had shock shackles on. They could have used them. Yes, Christy, but I really firmly believe they let him get away with a lot because they do not want any chance of him getting that appeal that he files for. I really believe that. What kind of attitude is that? Exactly. I mean, and as you notice when she's talking to him about this issue, the issue was he all of a sudden showed pictures to Erica Patterson. By the way, his ex that he ran over and broke her leg a couple weeks before this incident, by the way, and then he punched her in the face that day, I believe. He showed her these pictures out of the blue, came out of nowhere, said, how did I get these pictures if you're so afraid of me? Well, they shut it down. They made the jury leave. Everyone, the jury had to leave and they were discussing it. And she said, if these pictures came with a letter from Erica Patterson to show that she's in contact with you, you need to bring the letter so we can see it and we can look over it and to see if that's truthful or not. And he says, well, I don't have the letter. I brought the pictures. I didn't think I needed the letter. She went on to say, well, then you can go get the letter when we take lunch and you can bring it back and show it. And to distract from the issue, he went off about, well, the defense can do, or the prosecution can do this and they can do that and they can do, he was gaslighting. It was doing exactly what a narcissist does. They take a turn and try to blame the other person for something that he's lacking. And then the prosecution said, well, he must forget that we hear all his phone calls in jail because he was just talking to his mom, and his mom is the one that sent those pictures to him. And that's when he got all kinds of upset and attitude. Now, there's one more video I have, and this was, to me, this was the worst moment, well, the worst interaction between him and the judge that happened during this trial. I'm not going to say a word. It's only 1 minute. I want to see what you guys take from this, so make sure you send your comments in. So let's check this out.
Want to run the record back?
Mr. Brooks.
So I'm the only one. I got one.
Mr.
I got
Brooks.
one ear that work, and I heard that.
This
Come on,
is
man.
to benefit you so
No,
that
it's
you
not.
understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit
witness
me, so let's
has
be
a
clear about
prior
that.
record.
Your Honor, when I leave the table, I'm away from the courtroom and I have to elevate my voice. This is the
So she had to
alleged
elevate her
record of
voice
Abel
just for
Lescott.
that.
Stop talking.
Come on, man. Like, I don't know who y'all be thinking y'all fooling. I accept the value in return for value this document.
One more interruption and you're going to be removed to the next courtroom.
That's what you want to do anyway.
It's not what I want to do. Do not interrupt Attorney Opper.
So can
Your
you
Honor,
tell,
I
can
believe
you
he
split?
has 7 prior criminal convictions via OWI 2nd from 1997, and OWI 3rd from 1997, and OWI 4th from 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
All right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared. And we're taking a break.
I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are on that. I don't know if you heard all of it, but he pounded his fist on the table, and then you can hear his breathing while the prosecutor Sue Opper was talking, and then he's staring her down, basically threatening the judge for allowing them to speak. I mean, that kind of nonsense. And the jury wasn't even in there at this point. But that's the kind of bullshit this guy was putting them through during this whole trial. It's just unbelievable, you guys. The nerve of this guy to stall and play games throughout this whole trial, throughout the whole process, and act like that with that kind of behavior, and then at the end, when the verdict is found, he's guilty on all 76 counts. Every single juror stands up and says, yes, this is my verdict. Yes, this is my verdict. Every single one of them stand up. And he had the nerve to say, I'm not satisfied. Well, screw you, buddy. Let's lock you away and throw away the key, whatever you say. That guy needs to go away. Now, the hard thing is there's no death penalty in this state. But with all the charges he has, the great thing is 6 of those charges are life in prison. And then all the other charges could be up to 800 plus years. So he could be facing 6 life sentences back to back plus 800 years. So he'll never, ever get out. He was trying his hardest to intimidate her. Yes, he was. Osrin says he was looking like a wild animal with no human emotion. I agree. Antonia says, I agree with you. Jay says his punishment should be the exact same he gave his victims. I agree with that. I mean, he put them through so much. And when there were 6 people and like 61 that were injured, or 65 that were injured. There was a lot of people injured. And they could have charged him with recklessly endangering for every single person that was affected at the parade, but they only charged it for every person that was injured. To have that many counts and it's only charged for the people that were injured, that blows my mind. That means he injured over 60 people and killed 6, but he changed the life of hundreds to thousands of people that were there. I mean, insane, you guys. Joel says, Spot said, honestly, I wouldn't be paying attention to that piece of crap. I wouldn't care about his intimidation and threats. Joel said they should run him over 76 times. Todd said he should be life sentenced with no hesitation. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for the sentencing, you guys. Okay, so moving on. We got more stuff to talk about tonight. Before we do, we have another commercial. Sapat said, my guess is that in a few years or less, he will commit suicide in prison. Or maybe someone in the prison will take care of it for him. But before we move on, let's talk about this amazing pizza place in town called Hitchin' Post Pizza. Miss Valerie, she's amazing, and she makes the best pizza I've ever had. So check it out. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, I have a couple of things to talk about. I found a few new people to watch. Hi, Sarah. And Matthew says, I love pizza. Well, you would love Hitchin' Post Pizza then. Jay says, nah, he doesn't have anything on Hillary. I don't know where that's coming from, but okay. So there's a couple new people I'm watching on YouTube or Facebook, and one of it is a show called Slightly Offensive. If you guys are into like the conservative commentary, totally check it out. They have like they talk about like as Christians and stuff like that. It's really good. Brett Cooper, she's awesome. She looks like a young girl version of Ben Shapiro. Obviously, I've been watching Ben Shapiro and the Hodge twins. Those are like my 4 tops right now. And all of them, including Donald Trump Jr., mentioned this situation this week. And what it is they were talking about this person. He's a middle-aged man who is now a transgender activist and acting as though he is a young woman. Not just a woman, but a young woman. He has this thing where he started this TikTok where he'd go on and go, day 1 as a woman, day 2 as a woman, and go through like him being his life as a woman or her life as a woman. I don't know. I'm not into the pronoun thing, so I apologize ahead of time. At first, I think all of us thought this was like a comedy sketch. I know when I saw it, I thought it was a parody because it was so silly and funny, and I wasn't sure that this person was serious. I thought that he was making fun of it. But it looks more like it's not a parody. So his name is Dylan, or her name is Dylan Mulvaney. They are a trans activist. And this trans activist was invited to the White House to talk to Biden. And you want to know what this person was invited to the White House to talk to Biden about? They were invited to the White House to discuss the struggles and the struggles of being a woman in today's world. Now, you tell me, out of all the women in our country, the biological women in our country, and this person who's brand new to being a woman, if you believe in that or not, still brand new to being a woman and not a biological woman. She is brand new to being a woman, and this person is the best person to speak to the president about women's rights and the struggles of being a woman. No other woman in our country, no other biological woman in our country was fit for that role, right? I mean, what? And so they go on to talk, and Dylan is interviewing Biden, and it comes out that Biden says that he believes that no state, better yet, no human being has the right to interfere in the mutilation of minor children. No human being, no state has the right to stop surgery on minor children if they want to mutilate their bodies. Nobody does. And this is his response to some states saying we are not going to allow sex change operations on children under the age of 18. That's not what we feel comfortable with. And the president of the president of the United States is telling a trans activist that nobody, not any single human being, no state has the right to stop the mutilation of children. That just blew my mind. How in the world is Dylan Mulvaney more qualified, like I said, than any other woman in our country to talk about women's rights issues?
A true princess knows.
I mean, it's comical almost to think about the fact that a man now gets to talk about women's issues, and a man got that position over any biological woman in our country. Now tell me that women's rights are not in trouble right now. Women's rights are in big trouble, but not because of conservatives and not because we're trying to save babies, but because men are stepping into our positions now and pretending to be women. And I'm sorry, that's just the reality of it. Biological women should be the ones speaking on biological women's issues, okay? Also, there's a video I'd like to say I saw, and somebody said she has an event for the best costume party this Saturday. Yes, if you want to go to a costume party and you're in town, go to Hitch and Post on Saturday night. Sherry says, that tells you about our current administration. That's right. That talk hit me in my mind. So anyways, back to Dylan Mulvaney. There was a video I saw, day 74 of being a woman. Day 74 of being a girl is how they put it. And she talks about how I don't know if I'm supposed to say she or he talks about how he wore these short shorts, these tiny little shorts, and he's in the outfit in the video, and they're like really short, really tight, like leather shorts. And he was out shopping at the mall, and everyone was staring right at the package area. And he says he has three choices. He can wear something more appropriate, loose fitting, so that isn't seen, right? He can do a procedure called tucking it in, and it's very painful apparently. Or he can normalize the bulge. Now, I want to know, what do you think he picked? He didn't pick, maybe I should be more appropriately dressed so people don't see my private parts. He picked, I'm going to normalize the bulge. And then he goes on a chant to say, unacceptable. To say, women can have bulges too. Normalize the bulge. And this is the stuff that this person is putting out there. And this is the person that was chosen to go talk to the president of our country about women's rights, about all of this stuff. It just blows my mind. This is where we're at, you guys. This is where we are at in our country right now, in our world right now. I can't even begin to explain how confusing this is. If it's confusing for me as an adult that's lived in this world for several years, I'm not going to say my age, how confusing do you think this is for our children right now that have this pressure put on them to deal with all this stuff? I mean, it's abuse, you guys. This is just total abuse of our kids. We have to find a way to take it back. We have to take this all the way back and start over. Scratch it. I mean, it's insane. I have another video to show you guys, and I want to kind of tell you what it's about real quick. So this dad, I've shown you guys many videos like this where parents go to the school board and they complain. This dad came to the school board. He's talking about several books. One of them is called It Feels Good to Be Yourself, a book about gender identity. It's in 2 of the elementary schools in the school district. The irony about this video is that YouTube bleeps out a lot of the words he says while he's reading one of these books, but these books are available to our kids without bleeps, without anything. Somebody said, I will not let some stupid trans man claiming to be a female tell my son to mutilate his body parts. And Jay says, sure, women can have bulges too, right on the chest. That's where they have them. Scott says, just imagine what is on those early adults or children's heads going, who will watch these? So this dad is reading this book and it's bleeping him out, but these books are available to the kids. He goes on to talk about what's in some of these books. Like one of the books has a graphic description of the rape of a 10-year-old girl. One of them is talking about experiences sexually. He didn't even feel comfortable reading it to a room full of adults, yet it's available in their elementary, middle schools, and high schools. So we're going to watch this video, and I want you to pay attention to how the school board sits there, how they react, and what they do. And then we'll talk about it. So let's check. It's video number 3.
So you guys probably are aware that TPS and Mustang schools are going through some accreditation problems via HB 1775. You guys are going to have the same issue if you don't clean it up. And I'm going to find it, and I've got some connections that I've made over the last couple of years battling you guys that I'll bring that to bear. These books. This is in 2 elementary schools. It Feels Good to Be Yourself, a book about gender identity. Sanger and Will Rogers teaches the kids that the doctor is merely guessing whether it's a boy or a girl.
Unbelievable.
That's a millstone offense. Explicit child rape, child molestation. Do these have academic value?
I like how respectful the dad is. He's talking about
You guys are going to have to answer that question. And
what's the
it shouldn't take a
academic
form.
purpose of this?
If I send an email to a man who's in charge of protecting the innocence of our children, and the response is fill out a form, I would consider that a millstone offense. There's a rape of a 10-year-old girl, graphic, in this book. It's heartbreaking. By no means should there be a ban on books. Don't mistake what I'm saying for that. There ought to be academic books in the school libraries. And this problem, I never imagined it would be at my alma mater. I went from 4th grade up.
Me too,
Stillwater
Laura.
Public Schools. I'm an alum. And we have books after book after book after book. This is at the junior high. This book contains sexually explicit assault and battery. I hesitate to read it. I don't
Watch
feel
the
comfortable
school board
reading it
there.
to adults. 13-year-olds can check this book out. And you guys have bought it for them and provided it for them. And it needs to be corrected ASAP. Are you going to eat her? Yeah, Earl, I'm going to eat her.
Unbelievable.
Do you even know how to eat? No, not really.
Look at their faces.
Papa Gaines never sat you down and said, son, one day you're going to have to eat.
No shock.
No, but he taught me how to eat a.
No cares.
Yep. I would teach you some technique, but it's a little complicated. Son, I don't have time for that. I got 20 over here I need to eat. Is that right? I'm on a deadline. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. There are 79 in this book. 79.
None of them look shocked, by the way.
51 shits, 11 dicks, 15 and 9 goddams, and a list goes on. And you guys need to fix it.
You notice, and yeah, Kelly, this is a father who, look at their faces.
If you
Nothing.
enjoyed this video, hit like and
Nothing of shock on their faces. And Kelly, this is a father that came to the school board and found a bunch of books that are in the elementary school, the middle school, and this book that he was reading was available to kids. And he's telling them, these have no academic value. Why are they in our school library? I'm not telling you to ban books, but when my child can come up and read this, it has no academic value whatsoever. What is the purpose of this? Why would you allow this? And he even says before he starts reading it how uncomfortable he is to read this to adults. Now, a lot of those comments I'm missing because they're really long. So if Joel wants to send them to me in my messenger, I might be able to read them. But I was shocked to hear that, to see that. This is the kind of stuff. They've banned academic books and books that help our children learn because they might have conservative value in there, or they might have something from history that we want to forget about. But they will allow these kind of books that have no reason. They have no reason to be in our schools. And these little kids are able to pick that book up and read it. And those bleeped out words are not bleeped out in the book. Okay, the comments I'm missing. Someone on Twitter dared to mention conservatives want to ban books without acknowledging the subject matter of the books. Meanwhile, the left banned books like To Kill a Mockingbird, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and Tom Sawyer, and many others. That's true. It seems like we're in a twilight zone. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. So are you trying to say that my child will grow up reading this? I would love to leave my children illiterate than reading this. Yeah, Howard, I hear you. And this is why, as parents, we need to be vigilant. We need to be paying attention to what's going on in our schools. I mean, I don't know if those same books are available in all school districts or just that specific school district. But we need to be paying attention to what books are in our kids' libraries and what they're teaching our children in school and what kinds of things that they're have access to that are not acceptable. I know here in Oregon, there's a huge change coming, and I really believe that because I think that people are fed up with how drastic things have gotten. Here in Oregon, now whether you believe in a women's right to choose or you believe in you pro-life or you pro-choice, I think everyone can agree that there's a certain point that you don't go there. Well, here in Oregon, I don't know if many know this, but it's legal to abort a baby up to 9 months, up to the birth date, which to me is taking
This
something and
is
going,
unacceptable.
yeah, way far past the boundary. Whether you believe in that or not, I think everybody can agree that that's wrong. But we have gone so far over the edge. I watched a video the other day of somebody questioning, it was a girl questioning, like, when's a good time to cut that off? Like, when does a woman no longer have the right, when the child is old and, in the womb, when does the mother no longer have the right to abort? And this woman said the mom always has the right to choose. And she goes, well, what about when the baby is 9 months? She goes, always a right to choose. What about when the baby's born? Always a right to choose. What about when it's a toddler? And this woman said, always the right of the mother to choose. She literally went from being pro-choice, abortion to being pro-murdering your child. And she didn't even realize what she had said, but she had said it. She said it's always the right of the mom to choose if that child lives or dies. That's where we're at, you guys. This is evil, man. This is like sick, evil stuff that's happening. And we can all agree to disagree on certain things. But some stuff is just wrong no matter what your belief system is. And this is what's happening. We have gone so far off the deep end that we've lost the plot, man. I can't read all of that. Let me see if Joel sent it to me. This last one says, so from this point, every parent should read the book first before giving it to the children. And, it sucks that we have to go that far, but we might have to go that far because how are we supposed to know? We've got to pay attention. And I know it gives us more work. It gives us harder. It's harder because we have to look out around every corner and then some. But that's where we're at right now because we've stayed back for so long. So many good people have been quiet for too long. Sapat said, why would they allow these books in the school? These schools need to go back and reevaluate their curriculum because kids, teenagers do not need to read that crap. They can go to the parents. Exactly. I mean, there's certain things that parents are there for and certain things the school are there for. And the school is there to teach reading, writing, math, those kinds of things, not lifestyle choices and all this stuff that many people don't believe and don't agree with. Sherry says, as I sit here with my 4-year-old granddaughter, this breaks my heart. How could people think it's okay? I don't know. It breaks my heart too. It's exhausting. It's horrible. Jay says that's taking the threats of I brought you into this world, I could take you out of it to the next level. Wow. Yeah, it is. And the fact that this woman was able to say that with a straight face, no blinking, no waiting, no thinking, just always the right, always has the right. Just craziness. And this is normalized, you guys. This has been normalized. So I urge you all to step up, to start paying attention, be there for your kids, follow what's going on, get involved in their school, get involved in their know who their friends are, know what they're learning in school, pay attention to the curriculum, look at the books that are in the libraries, and get involved. Get involved. That's a big part of it. So I'm going to leave you with a quote. It's one of my favorites. And then I'm going to say goodnight. And that quote is, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Edmund Burke. And I truly believe that. So stand up, you guys. Start taking the rights of your kids to be kids back. Stop trying to make them adults. Stop trying to be PC and make everyone happy, and focus on what's right and true and good. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Goodbye, everybody.
Vocal